Hello, on this video I'm going to talk about strings. Strings is a fantastic data type because it's got everything that you need. But the problem at the same time is that it's got so many things that it gets overwhelming to learn it. If you take a look on the documentation of string, you're going to see that string can do a lot. And on this video, I'm just going to show you some of the things that we can do with a string. So let's look at some code now. Let's take a look on the Unicode. The Unicode is a numeric representation of every single character. And to get this Unicode representation, I can use the ORD function, and that prints the Unicode. So the Unicode of capital A is 65. Now, if I take a look on the ASCII table, and I go to capital A, which is right here, then I see the decimal representation is 65. So every character has a decimal representation. And this is what the ORD function does. It translates this into this. So let's take a look on the capital O. It should be 79. And it prints 79. All right, let's go to the next one. The next one is the Len function. The Len function gives you the length of a string. All you have to do is call the function, and it gives the length. So the length of A, B, C, D should be 4. Run the code, and I get 4. The next one is the string index. The string index lets you print a given character based on a string. So here the string is General Grievous, and the G would be index 0, this is index 1, and the N is index 2. So when I get the character at index 2, it gives me the letter N. So let me print this, and I get the letter N. The next one is the string slicing. The string slicing is when you get a part of the string. So to use that, you just use two numbers. Here's where you start, the index of where you start, and here's the index of where you end. However, this character is not included. So if you start at 0, you start at capital G, and then the 4 would be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. However, the R is not included. So let's run this. So I just get Gin, and the step is if I want to skip something. So let's say I just want every other letter. So if I want every other letter, the step will be 2, and then I just get G and N. So let's take a look at now at string repetition. So string repetition is just when you multiply something by a number. So the string that I have here is ABC dash, and then I get this same string and I multiply by 3, and I save on another variable. So when I do that, this string here gets repeated 3 times. All right, the next one is to search a string within a string. And the keyword here is in. So here I have one string and then another string. What I'm doing now here is if my search string is part of the bigger string, then I print I found it, otherwise I print it not found it. So in this case, it prints found it. And if I change this for something else, then it does not find it. All right, the next thing is to loop through a string. So in this case here, all you do, you loop through every single character on this string. So a simple for loop. And if I run, I print every single string. In this case here, prints on a vertical. If I put an and here, then instead of putting a new line, it just puts a space and it prints on horizontal. Or if you don't want any space, just put a double quotes without the space and it prints horizontally. The next one is the isAlpha. And the isAlpha is a method. The isAlpha, according to the Python documentation, returns true if all characters are alphabetic. So in this case here, my string is grievous and all of them are alphabetic. So if I run this code, I get all alpha. Now, if I put a space here anywhere and I run again, then it says that you have at least one non-alpha. And the reason is because the space is considered a non-alpha. All right, the next one is the string find. And all it does, it finds the index of a substring in a string. So in this case here, the string is this text. And I'm going to look for this string. And this function right here will search for the index of this substring. So let's run this code. It found an index 4. That's because this is index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So index 4 is where this string starts within this substring. The next one is the string replace. And replace is a function that you can give a old string and a new string and replaces for you. So in this case here I have a long text, and on this long text I want to replace all spaces with a dash. And if I look here, it replaces everything. As you can see here, it also lets you put a count, and the count meaning how many of those do you want to replace. Let's say I just want to replace 3, the first 3 empty spaces only. So if I run, then it replaced only the first 3 empty spaces, and the rest of them it left untouched. All right, let's take a look on the split now. The split gets whatever string you have and then returns a list. So the split returns a list. And in this case here, it just splits this string on spaces. So this thing here, if you remember from past videos, indicates that this is a list. And now if I want to, I can print just the index of a given word. So I'm going to print the index 3. Index 3 should be the fox. This is 0, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. So again, the split returns a list. Now I can do something very similar, but now instead of splitting on the spaces, I want to split in a comma. I have some data here that is composed by 2 words, and the same thing here. So if I split this on spaces, then I'm going to get the wrong information. This format here is a comma separated value. Because of that, I cannot split on empty spaces. I need to split on comma. It gives me the list split in comma. And then if I want the third element, which is on index 2. Then I get only the index 2 that I'm looking for. All right, so let's keep going. The next one is to join two strings. So one way to join a string is just to use the plus sign. So if I join string A to string B, I get everything here put together. You can also put a space right here in between. So if you do that, it's easy just to concatenate the strings with the plus sign. Or you can also use the join function. The join function here in this case takes a list and it just joins everything together. So the result here is a join of every single item plus a space and returns this into a string. And you can put whatever you want to put here. I'm going to put a dash this time. So it replaces all the spaces with a dash. There is an empty space right here, and that's because there is an empty space right here. But if I clean this, and on the pair as well, then the empty spaces should go. It's missing one here on the pizza. There it is. So every single data got replaced by a dash. Remember, hot dog is a single data. Therefore, there was no dash in the middle of it. And the last one I want to talk about is how to use the join function to put some spaces in a string. So this here I have a string with letters only. And then I send the string as a parameter to the join function. And because I have a single string, it puts a space between every single letter of this string. So in this video, I covered just a few of the functions that's available for you to manipulate strings and text in general. Whatever you want to do not write your own function. Just go to the documentation of Python and take a look if there is already a function that does what you're trying to do. Remember, this has everything but the kitchen sink. And most likely, there's already a function to do whatever you want it to do. So that's all for this video. Thanks for watching.